Let's talk about UFC Fight Night 245. Anthony Hernandez defeated, let's see, Michel Pereira. I've been mixing up the Ferreiras and the Pereiras, so apologies for that. I think you guys know who's who, though. Dan, what were your thoughts on this fight? Fluffy looked pretty good.
Yeah, man. Again, I always say, picks, plays, and analysis are different things. And, I was going to say with Paul Hughes, who was on my prospects to watch. And as far as this fight goes, I think I nailed the dynamic. And I actually got the pick correctly. I did pick Hernandez. It was either going to be one of those true outcome fights where Pereira's going to either hurt him early, particularly to the body with the teep. Again, called the shot, called where it was going to land. And we saw it, hurt him, but didn't finish the job right. So Fluffy came back. And it's really cool to see him use – I don't even think he's trained with Neil Melanson, my coach there, but like he's using a lot of like almost catch wrestling style things, a boa choke, which no one knows how to name that arm and guillotine, by the way, boa choke. And I'm talking about boa like a snake. I'm talking about boa like the burlesque dancers. It's what you make the arm look like, a little thing a boa flailing around there. He didn't get that one this time, but his turtle riding is just his kind of, I call it the Dagestani spin cycle. And it's really just impressive to watch. So Fluffy Hernandez, man, he's the middleweight to watch for me right now.
Okay, guys, there's a lot of big middleweights out there. Danny, what would you do next with Fluffy? He doesn't walk into a title shot. I'm sorry, I got to shut that down right now. But who would you put him in? Who would be a nice step up for him?
Yeah, certainly no title shot for him, but he got a main event. He got another guy in the rankings, and I feel like it's time for him to get a guy with a little bit of history in the division, say a former title challenger like Jared Cannonier or Marvin Vettori. I think that makes sense. Or maybe depending on how things shake out at 185, we got to decide whether or not Strickland is going to get a title shot. I feel like that will, if he does, or the winner of the Robert Whittaker Hamza Chimaev this weekend, I think that could maybe give us some options. Maybe the loser there, or maybe he does get Strickland. I don't know, depending on who ends up fighting for the belt. But I think a good bet would be Vettori or Cannonier, proven guys that have fought pay-per-view main events, that have been there for 5 rounds, that are tough, that got the gas tank, because Michel Pereira, very dangerous fighter, but perhaps in that area was a little bit on a bad matchup here against Fluffy. So, I would say either of those two, Vettori or Cannonier, are fights that interest me a lot.
He's got to get going. He's a fun fighter. He should be more popular than he is. The problem is, like, George, I don't know if you remember, like, he doesn't watch any MMA. He rarely does any interviews, but you don't want to end up one of these guys that has like these huge streaks that can never get a title fight. Like, whoever that guy that's next, he's got to get on the mic afterwards. It's got to be a decent name.
He's got to be in an arena too. Goes.
Yeah,
he's got to be in an arena in a big spot.
USA, in the Southwest of USA, and appeal to the Mexican American crowd, the Latin crowd, get something going for sure. This is his run, but not Vettori. I want to see Vettori Brandon Allen part 2. So I like the Cannonier matchup. Is Fluffy title material though? Can he win the title if he were to beat the next guy? Can he win did you see enough skills there where you can go, that's a future world champ?
I mean, look, he can give anybody a run for his money. That's for sure. But right now, I think he's making a living off of just being kind of a tough guy. And I think after a while, that starts to run out, right? Everybody kind of gets a few shots in on him, some more than others in other fights. But I think he's got to shore some things up a little bit if you want to put him in those types of talks. But if you put him in at the top, does he have a shot? Yeah, definitely has a shot. I just don't think he can be consistent among some of the top tier middleweights.
Okay. Well, we'll see, because it definitely is another tier up there. But so far, he's answered a lot of questions. He looked great on Saturday. Hey, what was one thing you want to highlight from that card? Since we're not going to spend too much time on it, it was a proper UFC card. It was a fight night at the Apex. There was some stuff that went down. We had a retirement. We had a few finishes, a lot of decisions. But let's go around the horn real quick before we start talking about UFC 308 coming up this weekend. All right, Danny Segura, who do you want to highlight?
Man, I got to highlight Rob Font. The dude's still doing it. He's almost 40 years old in a very, very difficult weight class like bantamweight is. And he just beat Kyler Phillips, who was killing it and was on quite a streak. So shouts out to him. He also changed camps. So we might be seeing Rob 2.0 here. Will it be enough for a title shot in the future? I don't think so, but I think we're going to get some important wins out of him in the next few fights.
Dude, how about that collar tie? Boom, boom, just smacking Kyler Phillips. That was amazing, man. Great work there at TriStar, improving. Not a shot at all at Tyson Chartier, just evolving, I should say. Mike Bond, how about you? You want to highlight anybody from Saturday?
I'll just give a shout out to Charles Johnson, the first and most likely only fighter who will win 4 UFC fights this year. So that's obviously a pretty big accomplishment. So yeah, like statistical side, he's got that on his end. He continues to do, solid, consistent performances here. So he's a guy who will fight anyone, anytime from what it seems. And hopefully they give him that top 15 fight now.
Dan, Tom, how about you? Who do you want to highlight from Saturday?
Well, I won't be highlighting Charles Johnson, but that's probably because of some distasteful tweets he sent out the other day. But I'm going to give a shout out to John Matsumoto and Brad Katona for putting on a hell of a fight. I don't know if they got fight of the night, but it was up there, man. It was a really good fight.
Nice one. All right. Goes Aura 2.
I want to do 2, George. So I want to go back to the Rob Font. I want to kind of talk about Tyson Chartier and just the level of class that he showed in his post. I don't know if people are very familiar with the way this guy coaches, but he'll drive his fighters to fights. Like he's almost like what you would call a soccer dad. He is a mentor to a lot of these fighters, and he said some really nice things about Faraz Sahabi and about Rob Font and them just kind of finding each other. And man, you can't buy coaches like that. Somebody that's willing to let you go and still support you. So I wanted to tie that loose end up there. And then look, Darren Elkins, man, that guy's a zombie. He does not stop, dude. That I swear to God, like if you see that name on the other side of you, you have to put your head down and go, why do I have to go through this guy? He just never quits, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, man. Elkins is something else.
Too, right?
Yeah,
he retired. Yeah, he beat down Pineda and he laid down the gloves. I thought Jessica Penne might do the same, but I don't believe I saw her lay down the gloves, even though she lost her fight.